Hello, my pretties. Gormac back here again from the Gore Chair. We're going to do another off boxing and off review video. It's bands that I used to hate that I like, and this idea came from Cover Killer Nation, so shout out to Mark at that channel for this idea. I really loved his video on this, so now I'm going to delve into a few bands that I used to hate and now I actually like. The first one is Papa Roach. When Papa Roach's first album came out, I did not like it. I found it to be obnoxious, as with most rap or nu metal back in the day. But as the years went on, I started to like this band a lot more. Their second album I liked. The Paramore Sessions album, I really enjoyed that. That's when I really got heavily into the band and actually started going to see them live. Another band from that era, or a little bit before that era, actually, was Korn. I used to hate Korn. I didn't get it. Then I started delving into it a little bit more. I started hearing about, my brother actually mentioned that I might like some of the lyrical stuff that Jonathan Davis was talking about in some of the earlier albums. So I went back and I checked them out. So now I'm a big Korn fan. I've actually seen them 4 or 5 times live. They've never disappointed. Another band that I wasn't a big fan of, but now I am, is Pink Floyd. I found as I get older, I've started to go towards more classic rock. I've always been a classic rock kind of guy. I like a lot of the classic rock bands. The Doobie Brothers are one of my favorite bands ever. But I was never big into Floyd until maybe 5 years ago. And no, about 10 years ago, actually. I was at a Dream Theater show, and they had their cover album of Dark Side of the Moon. So it was Dream Theater playing Dark Side of the Moon in its entirety. So I bought that, sat down, listened to it, and I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. So now I've delved into that band, and I love Pink Floyd now. Another band I didn't like, and now I do, the Beatles. Again, this is the getting older thing, I guess. I cannot stand Paul McCartney. Everything about him makes me sick to my stomach. Still drives me nuts every time I take a look at this guy. But I respect the songwriting. I respect what the Beatles did. So I now actually enjoy the Beatles. It's a good band. And another one is Nirvana. This is the big one. Okay, this will be the last band in this video, actually. Nirvana. I was a child of the 80s. I was a teenager in the 80s. So everything for me was about the hair bands. So Poison, Motley Crue, Rat, Warrant, Dokken, Skid Row, Firehouse, Slaughter, all these hair metal bands, the guys with the big poofy hair and all that stuff, the power ballads, all that. Still love that music. Matter of fact, in a week's time, I'm going to see Poison for my birthday, and it'll be fun. It'll be my daughter's first chance to see Poison live, so I'm hoping that they don't suck, because I've seen them like 8 times and they've sucked half the time. So I'm hoping Poison's good. Anyway, Nirvana was a band I wasn't a fan of. I had seen them on the Nevermind tour in Toronto at the Opera House right before the Nevermind came out. I think that show was with Mudhoney or the Melvins, one of the two. We had actually gone to see that, the headliner. They were amazing live, but they killed hair metal, essentially. They were part of the reason for the death of hair metal. The main reason hair metal died was because it it was saturated. There were so many bands doing the exact same thing. It was so cookie cutter. And it's actually taken me until I got closer to my 40s to realize that it wasn't Nirvana that killed hair metal. It was hair metal that killed hair metal, and Nirvana put the final nail in the coffin, and grunge put the final nail in that coffin. And the stronger hair metal bands survived. All the fluff pretty much went to the wayside. You still had Motley, you still had Poison, you still had Cinderella, which to this day is one of the best live acts I've ever seen. Yes, we haven't had a Cinderella album since I think 94 or 95. I don't think we ever will see another one. But back to Nirvana. A few years ago, I was working in a pawn shop, and a Nirvana box set came in. And my coworker put one of the CDs on. We were listening to it, and I found there was some acoustic stuff that Kurt was doing on this box set. And the box set was called With the Lights Out, I believe it's called. I took that CD and I actually made I put all of the acoustic stuff that Kurt did on that box set on one CD. And in my eyes, I've never heard something as soulful as Kurt Cobain with an acoustic guitar. It took me many, many years to appreciate Nirvana and Kurt Cobain. I now own all their albums. I have a few of them on vinyl. I spin them a lot. I listen to Nirvana all the time. And that is probably the biggest band that turned me. There are some other bands. I was never a big U2 guy. Now I like some of U2's stuff, but the main one was Nirvana, and so I'm now a Nirvana fan. The other thing would be, if we were going to talk genres of metal, I was never a big black metal fan. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Till about 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I bought a couple of CDs at a local store. Listened to them, I liked it. I started slowly getting into it. Once I started the Metalhead box subscription, it was all in. I got a couple of really cool underground black metal albums, and I started exploring it. Some of the guys that do the unboxings have actually sent me messages with black metal bands I should check out. Trez from... oh man, I can't remember his channel name. I'll name drop it in the next video for sure. Trez has actually helped me out with atmospheric black metal, because that's the genre I really, really enjoy, and he's got me into a few bands. And Black Lion Records, I got 2 black metal albums from them this year, and they are phenomenal. So black metal was the one genre of metal that I never really listened to until a couple of years ago. Now I love it. So keep your mind. What this video basically says is keep your mind open to music. I'm going to be doing another video soon about bands that are non-metal that I'm into. And I guarantee you, the true metal people are really going to hate this video. So until then, this is Gormac. Be good to each other. Keep your stick on the ice.